morning to you. We apologize. We had a bit of a technical hitch in our earlier broadcast, but we are back and I will continue from where we experienced that hitch. And I think I'll just do very quickly the headlines because that is where we were. And on the Star newspaper, the main headline, Raila, no joint primaries for Azimio parties. ODM leader tells supporters to elect Azimio candidates. And lift sanctions against Zimbabwe. Uhuru tells international community, and all set for LSK polls as Kamende pledges break from Nelson Harvey. That is on page 2. Dad weeps as image of Sharon's unborn babies shown in court. That is on page 9. The Standard newspaper, the headliners, you'll find that on the main story on page 6. Heavy task for man to oversee Uhuru transition. That is Marjan Hussein Marjan, the new IEBC CEO. The story is on page 4. The good, bad and ugly of Ruto's tour abroad. That is on page 7. On the Daily Nation, the beast of Forest Road. Police say suspect escaped via sewer duct in Mukuru, Kayaba. That is on page 12 and 13. And it makes... it's make or break talks for Kalonzo. That is on page 4. And KCPA results to be set out in 2 weeks as Magoha marking began on Monday with only 3 cheating cases reported in test. So that is what we have in a nutshell in the leading newspapers in the country this morning.
Thank you very much. From there you can pick what interested you quickly on that. We are sorry about the delay, as Miriam has said. What made your headline in the newspapers in Kenya?
Thank you so much, Dr. Matanga. And of course, whatever I pick is the kind of efficiency and the kind of maybe speedy results that we've been able to achieve in our Ministry of Education. You know, when majority of us sat for KCPE and KCSE, you could wait actually for months before you are able to get your results. But for today, you can see the way the government of the President Uhuru Kenyatta has actually revolutionized these exam, and learners can be able to get results in 2 weeks and give parents enough time to be able to prepare for their Form 1 intake by looking for school fees and knowing which schools they've been actually admitted to. So it actually saves up time and actually gives the parents and the guardians an ample time to actually prepare.
Thank you very much. Miriam, from this story, one of the stories that keep on coming, and we are not addressing it, is the situation of Kalonzo on Kenyan politics. I have said it, and I continue to say here, Miriam, that Kalonzo can come if he wants. Why do we waste time on Kalonzo's really? Because he might not come. So are we going to sit and say he might not come, we won't hold the elections? I think the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga should just do one thing: continue with the campaigns, go deeper, sensitize people, tell people what you think is the correct manifesto. Kalonzo, if he wants to come, you come. Kalonzo is known for waiting to see which side he can jump on. You remember in 2007, he jumped and became a vice president. He would not have been a vice president anywhere on earth. So why are we wasting time on a man and the money and the resources and time? You might not be paying him money, but you are paying resources in terms of time. Mm-hmm. And our time is going. Our friends, you see, I was supposed to hold a rally tomorrow in London. And I shared with some of the strategies of His Excellency, the former Prime Minister. I told them, why do you allow space in London? This guy has polluted the area. My rally tomorrow was to debunk what Ruto had said. Then they say, I think I'm right. Please wake up. Let's go. This Ruto must be fought in so many directions. Everywhere, from air, sea, land, air, sea, surface to surface. A political discussion so that you can bring the sense out of Ruto.
But also, like yesterday, Kanu seems, I was watching Nick Salat talk, and he sounded exactly like what you've been saying here, Doc. I think they've also had enough of Kalonzo's indecisiveness as a partner in One Kenya Land, and they're saying enough is enough. Nini tunangoja? I think he was asking.
Yeah, exactly. Tunangoja nini? What are you waiting for?
They've had enough of indecisiveness.
Yes, Kalonzo is not going to come. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ruto is violating the election rules. Chebukati is not talking. The $30,000 collected in New York is a violation. People from that station should not be allowed to take part in an election. The law is very clear that any Harambee done after the deadline of Harambee, you have violated. So why did Ruto attend a dinner fundraised in his name? The money collected did not go to any project. I have not seen any church being given that money. That is a crime committed outside this. All these elections of, I know Wesonga is a great friend of Marajan. What is his name? Majan?
Of the new
CEO
of IEBC.
Hussein. He's a very good man. I have no problem with him. But he's working with a very dangerous chairman who has finished everything, Miriam. He has done everything. He has put in place the ballot papers from Greece. Now he says let's have a managing director. Because what is the Mr. Marijan Hussein going to change? What is he going to change? Today as we speak, the point, I have finished the other point of Kalonzo. Now I'm on the point of the elections. Something I picked out of the papers of today, of Kenya. They have done everything. They have arranged themselves with Ruto that this is how we can do it. So you come and say, this thing is not going to be right. Because they said there is a pending case about the Greek man going to print papers. How many papers does he print? How do you print papers when you have not cleaned the register? How? This is all a travesty. I don't think there's something that is not very good for these elections. And for me, I speak my mind out. If I were a Kenyan, I would not allow Mr. Chebukati, because if Chebukati called me to say, my friend, come here and explain why you don't want me to have an election, I would tell him. I would tell him. He doesn't need to threaten anybody. Maybe he can. I would tell him. He has not properly organized this election. This is a disaster. It's a disaster in informing why Africa does not listen to other Africans. I have witnessed elections in East Timor. I don't think Chebukati knows where East Timor is. Ask Chebukati without him looking at his phone whether he knows where East Timor is. Does he know when East Timor got independence? Does Chebukati know when East Timor got independence? East Timor is the one state that got independence from Indonesia. He doesn't know. He will say, where is it? So I have gone there to witness elections. I've been in Zimbabwe. I've been in Ghana. I've been witnessing elections for my Labour Party in London for the last 37 years. As an agent of the Labour Party at the polling station, I vote in Croydon Central. I'm a delegate of Croydon Central in the National Delegates Conference of the Labour Party to National Executive of the Labour Party. What killed me was this Zimbabwe problem. When I started supporting Mugabe, my friends in the Labour Party turned on me, Miriam. We are going to see that on top of the hour, which is already the top of hour. That's how I lost. I should have been one MP from the African breed in House of Commons today. So Chebukati does not know how to organize elections. Don't tell me any story. Nothing. Nati. Pete. Hakuna. If he calls me in his office, Miriam, my sister, I would tell him 22 reasons. 22. In fact, by the time I arrive his office, there could be 25. But he has no jurisdiction over me. How is he going to summon me? I'm a free man to talk. I have not broken any law. You cannot go and print ballot papers when you have not cleaned the register. You cannot talk of elections when you don't have enough money to conduct voter education. So how is he conducting the voter education? Me, I don't want to speak about the rigging and whatever it is. I don't know about that. Ruto knows, because they sat together with Ruto and organized that. Go and blow it in London about the rigging. But I'm telling you, as Kenyans, from an experience of a bad election in my country in 1980, the first time in my seriousness of being a grown-up at that age of 20-something, I voted. And Museveni told us this thing has been stolen. And I told it to people. In fact, when I went to study political science in London later on, I agree now with Museveni. It was stolen. Because we actually did so many mistakes. I'm sorry, I'll apologize on behalf of Dr. Milton Obote, who is dead. We stole an election in 1980. We gerrymandered it. At that time, I could not see. But now I see the truth. I have to say the truth so that when we meet up there in the corridors, and Obote says, how was Uganda? I'll tell Obote that Mzee, Uganda I left 37 years ago, but I don't know. The only mistake we made, Your Excellency, is 3 times I came to you and I told you they want to overthrow us. You asked me, who? I want to talk to him. The second time, you said, who again? The first time, we stole elections. Mr. Late President. The second time, Museveni was going to the bush. And I told him, yeah, he's going. I found him last night in Speaker Hotel. He said, who? He's my son. I'm going to talk to him. The third time, they actually commanders, Okero, Basilio, Okero, I found them in a factory in my town in Mbale. All of them, they actually soldiers meeting. But because they loved me, the General Okero said, come. This is our son. Don't come in, David. I sat down, looking like this. I saw all over 200 officers of Acholi. I went to Kampala. I told Obote, oh, what? He said, you are arrested. You are spreading rumor. Aha! That is 1984, no, 85 in April. Moi came to Mbale in April 1985 at the end, 30th of April. 27th of July 1985, Saturday, 10 o'clock. The same men I saw in my town in Mbale arrived and overthrew us. Told us with radio calls and said, over, get out of the capital. You are all friends. We don't want to kill you. We don't want to shoot. Hey, I have the problem. Elections. Why I'm bringing this point? Miriam, elections bring chaos. You see? All this war of the Luwero Triangle is elections. Did you know that? If the elections of 1980 were free and fair, Museveni would have not gone to the bush. And then we started fighting. Instead of fighting, we started hammering people. And then Museveni also hammers, we also hammer. Where are we? From 1985, Saturday, 10 o'clock, I left with one shirt, one trouser, one socks, one pajama, and one pair of shoes and a small briefcase. It is at my house in London today. I never left it. It's a souvenir. Where are we now? Elections. So when you come outside and you have read about the subject, you want to brief people, you want to tell people, you want to tell Kenyans, prepare an election that will be credible. They call you names. This one here, Chebukati has not. This one here, even if you appoint the biggest scientist, he can't change things. Where is the voters register? Now, Miriam, you don't know whether you are still on the register or not. The law is already broken. 6 months. Ruto is going to New York. He's fundraising. They are segregating. Then they are calling Chege, who is saying there is, in court, there are 3 cases on Chebukati. One case says open the server. The server in Paris, we are still sleeping. The French, are you still sleeping, you French? So, if people think Matanga is wrong, hallelujah. Let them see what is in Sudan. Riek Machar started telling Salva Kiir that, let's do what? Reform the constitution. Guns came out. Is South Sudan the same today? No. Elections. Across in Somalia, elections. In Zimbabwe, where Emerson Mnangagwa comes from, my friend, because he's my, I have to tell the truth. Chamisa up to today does not recognize the government of President Emerson Mnangagwa elections. In my own country, a young man, guitar musician, who should play at the emperor's arrival. He should be playing for us, for me, because I am the only veteran left. Did you know that? All the people are gone. I'm the only one left here. That's why, yes, with some few people in London, I'm the only one. Look at me. The rest of the people of 1980, 80, 78, Tanzania, UNLF are gone. We can talk about Rugumayo, Matanga and Rugumayo, we worked together in diplomatic commission of the UNLF. Whoever threw Binaisa, whoever threw Lule, all of us. So here we are in Uganda. MPs come and they leave. Come the parliament, elections. Let's go. Could choose another country. Tanzania, Mama Suluhu has just made peace, handshake. And I thank you very much, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for the good handshake, which you started with Raila Odinga. I have grabbed it, Your Excellency. It is mine. I will make it a theory for students of political science in the future to study it. Elections. They shook hands. We were running. There's a man whom I remember in 2018 with a big dog. I don't know how. Himself is very thin, but the dog is very big. I still remember that guy who came with the dog at Towers, which what are the towers called? I still remember that gentleman with his dog. Tear gas was going like hell, but the guy had a big dog. You remember that gentleman? That one, brother, wherever you are, I want to interview you. And until Uhuru shook hands of Raila, we were dead. So in short, A bad election is equivalent to a war. I submit, Miriam.
All right, thank you. And just a bit of some information about the now CEO of IEBC, Marjan Hussein Marjan. He has been acting IEBC CEO for some times now, and he was appointed Deputy IEBC Secretary CEO in 2015, and in 2017 repeat elections he was appointed lead coordinator for the elections, as well as new heads of Department for Information Technology, Legal Services, Logistics, Operations, the National Tallying Center and Training. He was previously the head of Internal Audit, Investigation and Quality of Telcom Kenya. He served in the telco for more than 20 years. He has vast experience in leadership, finance and the audit functions, information security systems audit, and strategic management. And of course, his profession and education qualification is very long there. But also there has been something that has been happening with the previous CEOs that we've had. In the IEBC, we saw Esdras Chiloba's employment being terminated after the 2017 election. He was terminated in 2018. And also before that, James Oswago. And we know that James Oswago is currently fighting a court case in which it is alleged that he and other IEBC staff were bribed by two directors of a UK company, Smith and Usman, to award the firm ballot papers printing tender. So the same problem that we seem to be having right now in the IEBC, they were there in 2013, and that came to be known as the Chicken Gate scandal because of the kickbacks and being christened a chicken. The two directors were found guilty in the UK, jailed in 2016, and their company fined. They have since completed the jail term, but we see Oswago is still working here. So also the issue of institutions and our institutions and how they operate here. If the other partners in the UK were found guilty,
ours are still in court.
Around, what evidence do you want?
Yes, Wetangula is still walking free here.
So what
you
evidence?
Remember tobacco, the tobacco scandal, where Wetangula is walking free. The other ones in UK who bribed the tobaccos in order to influence are in jail. They have served. Their houses were taken. You know the directors in UK, the directors who printed the Kenyan newspapers, ballots, who were bribed, are homeless. Because all the property was taken. Did you know that?
Completing the jail term?
Yes, they completed the jail term. They came back to fill a form called DSS. For social service. So that you can have housing. A council can look for you housing. Like Matsanga now with his age. A terminal benefit. Retirement. I'm still strong. So they have managed to increase the age to about 60 something. Which I don't want to fill a form. But here in Kenya, institutions, unless we make institutions work, we have a chaos.
Mm-hmm. So that was over procurement, where he was charged in court with abuse of office, later removed from office, and of course linked to the Chicken Gate. And Ezra Chiloba also had nearly similar problems. He was suspended to pave way for audit of procurement of election materials. And we seem to be having the same, Doc, because we've been saying here, the connection between Greece, where now our ballot papers are being printed, and, there could be a problem there, and IEBC has not come out very clearly. And so we seem to be setting ourselves
Let me ask President Uhuru Kenyatta and the rest of the people here. How do you print ballot papers in Greece, a country? If Matsanga goes there with $10,000, the Prime Minister of Greece will know I'm in a hotel.
So another scandal is brewing in
Yes!
Greece, that's what you're saying?
Yes! Tuambiane ukweli hapo. I've been shouting about this scandal. Nobody wants to listen because I am Paul preaching to Jews. I'm a Gentile preaching to Jews. I always quote my favorite, the letter to the Philippians, chapter 3 and 4. Raila is not seeing this. Raila, Baba, you are not seeing this problem? Tell Badi to go to parliament to bring this problem on the floor again. Why are papers being printed in Greece?
But even as you say that, we know that activist Okio Mutata has moved to court already to challenge the award of the ballot printing tender to the Greek firm. Another petitioner, Risk Africa Innovators Limited, has challenged the award of the KIEMS kit tender to Smartmatic, arguing that the data migration was not budgeted for at the time the tender was floated. So it's
a litany of cases. And the medium, a litany of cases makes an election. I am an observer. I've been an observer. I've been a monitor.
And also, the petitioner is going to challenge this KIEMS kit tender. The petitioner questioned the integrity of the Smartmatic, arguing that the company left other jurisdictions, including Philippines, Venezuela, Uganda, Nigeria, and the U.S. under a cloud of suspicion by, when their kits were used in these countries in the election.
They are going to go to use lawyers. They go to those judges, bribe, and the case will come. They will say IEBC has won. I'm telling you. But some of these things are real. And these things must be checked by the former Prime Minister, who is a candidate. He must check the IEBC. It is not a good institution at all. It is better to have no elections for now and rearrange elections. For me, that is I might be the Lone Ranger. I'm not a Kenyan. I'm not a voter. But if I were to give my report to any international observer who sees who has followed this, I would say, let's not touch a ballot. Mr. Wafula Chebukati should not touch a ballot paper. I'm sorry.
All right,
because he doesn't know. He doesn't know even where the other ballot papers went. The one, the question that made this Maraga to nullify the election was simple. Yes, Maraga had some George Soros operations behind him. But he looked for a reason. One of the reasons on the panel is the lady. You know why the current speaker of National Assembly is not happy with us? And who has turned to His Excellency the President, because he feels that the madam on number 2 of the judiciary has been harassed. Did you know that? And the speaker has turned on us. Now, if you look at the Kenyan parliament, is it real parliament or strangers in the parliament? People have resigned. The speaker himself of the Kenyan parliament, Katonda Wang, Kenyan parliament, he has declared interest in the presidency. How will he pass the law? Why can't people resign? Why can't people learn the act of resigning? Ruto is stuck in the same position. Wesonga, Miriam gives you 2 minutes. Come back and tell me more. If there's anything I've left out, my son, add more.
Yeah, Dr. Matsanga, I believe I agree with you and Miriam. In all these, there are things which are happening, but if we do not put maybe emphasis or maybe keen interest on it, then we are more likely to not have a free and fair election. The fact that ballot papers are being printed in Greece, a country which has become as modern world's failed state today, then I think there's much to be desired for when it comes to that particular tendering. Also, the issue of just laxity in the IEBC. Miriam has mentioned the prosecution of the former IEBC CEO, James Oswago, which has taken decades. What is the problem with our judicial system, Because all the evidence was presented to court. Our DCI did a very, very incredible job in actually netting in these suspects. The UK actually did its part to actually share evidence with the Kenyan authorities, and that is perhaps the judiciary, in order to be able to bring these culprits to book. But it seems that corruption has really been ingrained in our judiciary to an extent that such cases are actually going to take more than a decade, whereas people in the UK have already finished serving their jail term. And it is a bit sad, Dr. Masanga, that we have a country whose judiciary is rotten to such an extent. And this is because we have activists in the midst of the judiciary. But these activists are not actually clean activists. They are activists who actually take bribes, both internationally and locally. And that is why these cases can never move forward. So to me, Dr. Masanga, I believe we have a very, very big problem with IEBC. And if we're not going to be sorting out the mess that is there in the IEBC, especially with the chairman, then even my good friend Marjan Hussein Marjan will not be able to deliver a free and fair election. As it were, even in 2017, we Kenyans saw the kind of push and pull that was there between Chebukati and Ezra Chiloba. It was very, very open, you know. They were actually fighting one another. And even that is what led to actually Chebukati working against Chiloba before he was sacked. So to me, I believe, not unless we saw the mess, the personal interest of Chebukati in IEBC and his acrimony with other leaders that who are in the various departments of IEBC, then I believe we might not end up having a free, fair, and credible elections. Otherwise, on the rest of the matter, Dr. Masanga, I believe you've been able to exhaust the matter, you and Miriam, and I wouldn't really want to dilute more of whatever you've been able to talk about. I submit.
Okay, thank you very much. Miriam, back to you. I think I don't know whether it is anything else, unless you have something to ask about the rider.
Yeah, it is the headline of the front page. You can just go ahead and talk about it.
The rider, Mr. Obadia, is unfortunate that you did a very bad thing, but all what we can say is the motto, the border industry must be streamlined. And I want to reiterate my point, which I said, Macharia, Minister of Transport, Roads, please cancel all licenses for Kenyans.
I think they were all cancelled.
No, not only border. Everybody.
Why?
Including you.
Why?
We go back to school.
But I went through the school and I was taught well.
Yes, okay. If you are taught well, you will pass the exam, then give you a new.
I passed and I was given.
No, Miriam, no problem. And we can have an argument on that. You are very good. You are very good at driving, but other people. No, wait.
Yeah.
Other people are not very good at driving.
Yes.
There is no courtesy on the roads in Kenya,
and that's why we have.
And we must have no. Wait, let me make my case. We must be frank to ourselves. This border issues raising so many issues. Why can't the Minister of Transport use his brains, sit back in the drawing board, go back to the drawing board? What creates accidents? What creates difficulties on the roads? What creates anger on the roads? These are the topics why we are online talking, because we are educating the community. The road, the new road that is being built from the airport up to here, it has got emergency lane. Thank you very much. The other road has no emergency lane. Tuambiane ukweli. We are traveling in danger from Nairobi to the airport. We are in chaos. If fire catches, where do you go? All cars will burn. There's no emergency. Where will the ambulance pass to go and collect you? Nyenye msikule pesa, mnakuja hapa mnasema I am a Minister of Transport. Minister of Transport what? You can't, if you are an engineer in transport, don't you see that there is a road in America, in London, in Moscow, in China, they build with emergency lane? Why did we allow our road to be built without emergency lane? Go and imprison me if you want. You are the people who bring chaos to Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. Uhuru Kenyatta is not an engineer, is he? No, is Uhuru Kenyatta an engineer, Miriam? You picture yourself. There is fire on Mombasa Road. Ambulances, 10 of them, even if, unless you have a helicopter to fly, and pick people on the site, which we don't have, how will people be picked on Mombasa Lane? Before, now the other road which is coming up and the other one, they are just expanding even a lane. Is Matanga wrong? I'm one of the few people who used to drive straight to Mombasa for almost 3 years. From Nairobi, I wake up at 4 and I'm in Mombasa by 12. Miriam, I stopped. When I looked at the danger that I face on that road, I said, no, I'll be going by air and my entourage will go by road. We meet when I've drunk my tea, coffee, and swam, gone to the ocean, they will come later. Not me anymore, because this road is a killer road. This guy, this one that happened at Forest, we apologize to the people of Zimbabwe, because the diplomat is from Zimbabwe. One of the problems now that might have occurred, she couldn't speak Swahili. Therefore, they took an advantage. But you shouldn't take an advantage on a person because he has not spoken Swahili. When they saw her speaking English, they thought this is someone who will not make it. So we apologize. As an East African, I apologize on behalf of the people of East Africa and Kenya for what this young man did, and with his friends who led. If he was knocked down, cars are machines, are like a dead a body, not like a human being. You can be well now here. As you walk down the steps here from this counter, you fall sick. A car can refuse to go anytime. So you can't come out of the car and beat somebody because he has knocked you. There are so many people. Why I'm saying, advocating that some people's licenses, most of them 3/4. Miriam, I am happy you are seated with me. You did your test. You went and did it hard way. But there are ladies in this country, there are men in this country who sit in their houses in Runda, in Karen, and order for those driving permits. President, listen to me. And the police bring the driving permit. The same policeman who is supposed to arrest you for having a wrong driving permit.
And that's where we have a problem.
Yes.
Because a lot of this lawlessness we see on our roads is because the traffic police do not do their jobs. All they care for is the bribes, and that is something that we really have to address. Otherwise, we will not see this lawlessness we see on our roads. They're not doing their jobs.
Exactly. But how do they do the job when they are the ones who have actually given you a license?
And that is the problem. And I do have a friend who never really went through the driving school, and she does have a license. Unfortunately, I hope.
I had a friend of mine.
Yeah.
You are right. Who was saying, I like your car. I said you like. Oh, I know how to drive. So one evening I said, I am not feeling well. I've taken a bit of 2 bottles. Drive. I said, I just pretended to know whether he knows how to drive. This person doesn't know how to drive. It's like a friend of mine who told me he lives in Karen. Every time I meet him in Intercontinental, he tells me he lives in Karen. So one night, he did not have the money to be dropped. We have people who lie here. So I said, let me take you. So me, from Intercontinental, I started rushing towards Bagafi Way. Those who know Nairobi. The car was said, sorry, Miriam, back to you. And the car started eating the road towards Bagazi. The man said, David, are you going to pick something in Ragata? I said, no, but you said you live in Karen. Kumbe the guy lives in Kahawa ndani. Is it Kahawa? These are the people in this country, in this Africa, who tell lies about people. Even you find them even senior officers. An officer in charge of a very big department telling a lie about Matsanga, because Matsanga speaks the truth. Because Matsanga knows your mistake. And then when I'm pointing out the truth, that's why you see some of these television stations don't call me. Because Miriam, I will not hide something like this. And if the man says that is not correct, I said the name. Even my friend here, if you say you didn't tell me, I can shout you the name. I always see you on TV. On Sunday. On Sunday's show on KTN, I see you. You used to tell me you have a house in Karen. Kumbe, you don't have the house there. What type of friends do we have here? That's why the country, a lady, especially these women you see now, I have got a car. Ask them whether they can park the car by reverse. Voila, Macharia. Mr. Macharia, you are cleaning, Mr. President, you are cleaning the border industry, cleaning also the manner, the mindset of people under the driving license section. And Mr. President, don't stop there. Go to the insurance. The people killing Kenyans are insurance companies. Yeah. Hello, my insurance is finished. Can you send me? Hello, my insurance is finished. Can you send me insurance cover? It arrives by the insurance company does not know the car it is insuring. Whether it has a tire, whether he has a what, whether the nuts down are dead.
They don't do the inspection.
No. Then you say Britain is wrong. Then you say, you go to Chatham House and they say, oh. Do you know that Ruto said something very strange? That corruption is as the soul of our nation. Did you hear that? Hey, play that tape. When he was being asked, he said, it is true. Corruption is the soul of our nation.
I thought he said it's eating the soul.
No, he said the soul of our nation. It is true. Corruption is by the voice of America lady.
So that is the core of who we are.
Yeah.
Is that what he meant?
That is what he is himself, not you. You and me, have we taken anything?
But if he says that the corruption is the core of our nation, that means all of us, that's our DNA. It's corruption.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he means. That is, he will fight corruption. If these incidents on roads can end, let Kenyans start abiding by the rules of traffic lights. If light is red, wait. In Zimbabwe, where His Excellency Emerson Mnangagwa comes from, who was yesterday meeting President Uhuru Kenyatta, I hope they should have signed one element teaching morals. Morality. Hey. Yeah, Zimbabweans, however poor they have suffered, Walaya Mungu give them a credit. They don't break the laws. Do you know Zimbabwe is the country in Africa which has more guns in private? But you rarely find guns being used in hotels, shooting people in bars. Do you know what? Can I tell you the secret why? We are jumping already in the topic, but can I tell you the secret why in Zimbabwe the guns are not? Because each gun in Zimbabwe is numbered. with your ID number attached to your gun. So if you commit a crime, the policeman just comes to ask for your ID, and that's it. They come for you. They don't refuse to give you the gun. You know, most of Zimbabweans were freedom fighters. Kila mtu anajua ako na bunduki yake. They have their guns, but they don't kill each other like South Africa. If you go to South Africa, across in Limpopo, south of Limpopo, these buggers kill each other every day. You can't have tea in South African town. With a nice suit like ours, we have come, you and me, we have gone, we have now put our bags in the hotel, and we come to the balcony of the hotel where they have lunch. Miriam, bullets zinakuja.
Just yesterday on the Diaspora Dispatches, I was reading a news where I'm sorry you're digressing.
No, it's okay. We are in the topic of Zimbabwe.
They've formed some, South Africans have formed an organization to fight against any black person trying to set up shop or settling in some part of the country. So that is also worrying. But Doc, before we move on fully to the Zimbabwean topic, there are a few things that yesterday after the meeting with Matiang'i and other ministers and some of the measures that the government is putting in place in response to the Boda Boda menace, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has introduced measures to rein in rogue Boda Boda operators in the aftermath of an incident that shocked Kenyans and triggered an online uproar. Addressing the players in the transport sector in Nairobi yesterday, the CS said Boda Bodas will undergo training. The new training, all of them obtained licenses and form SACCOs, as in the case with Matatu owners. All operators will be vetted and issued with smart licenses within 60 days. So to make it easier, and maybe I think that was a very smart move on the government part so that politics does not come into play. Dr. Matiang'i said the government won't charge anything for the licenses after the president directed that the 5,800 fee be waived to ensure all riders are trained and cleared. So I think that was a very excellent move on the government part. So, they will all have their licenses and they will all undergo a new training.
Yes, but who is supervising the training?
I don't think they'll play with that right now because the government... I used to think people don't really listen so much to some of these pronouncements made by the government. But after President Kenyatta gave that a moratorium of banning, the sale of scrap metals, do you know how real that thing is on the ground? And the people who deal with scrap metals, they fear. So I was shocked that the people fear. So they know right now the government is watching. So I don't think anyone would want to play that. And I think after what we watched, why would you want to not do the right thing?
You are right. Sorry, Wesonga, to cheat you this, but I think you have to come to the studio one of these days. We shall be taking a lot of the chunk out of it. But make your views on this briefly before we close the chapter. You are 100% correct. We have a problem. And one of our viewers, Otto, has brought a very good thing here. He said, which is very true. In Britain, if you see a dog crossing the road, you stop. If you see a cat in Britain crossing the road, you stop. If you see a bird crossing the road or it has fallen on the road, you don't run over it. You stop the car, remove the bird, pick the number, and call RSPA. They come and collect the bird. Walaya Mungu hapa Kenya.
Here we only stop for the animals that are bringing us revenue, the big ones.
Which one? Only the lion.
The bring us revenue.
Revenue. But it is cats.
You find them on the roads that have been knocked down, unfortunately.
If people there watching me thinking that Matanga is not right, then there's God call us.
I mean, the only reason why we stop for the elephant because we can't run it over.
Yes,
otherwise we would.
Here there is nobody who will stop for a dog to cross.
No, they knock them. Drive along the highway.
And he will be and when he's knocking the dog, the children are inside the car. Then he say, yeah, I've knocked it, man. You saw how it bounced. This is a father. A father telling the children, Wako, you know, Miriam, we have bad manners. In Zimbabwe, difficulties that they have, despite what they have, sanctions, they don't pass a robot. They call them traffic robots. Here we call them traffic lights. Here on Huru Highway, if you stop for ready to pass, people will come out of their car, not one, not two, 3, 5, knocking on your car. You drive.
Especially the matatus, they seem to be having their own rules when it comes to the traffic rules. Because I think Michuki tried to revive and he did a good job, but we need to go back into relooking some of these directives to make sure that they are obeyed. Yeah, the traffic, the matatus, they will hoot behind you. They don't see the red light. You're wasting their time, so they seem to be operating in their own laws.
So one of the agreements that we expected President Uhuru Kenyatta to sign should have been morality. Morals and ethics.
That's in the BBI.
BBI. When President Kenyatta wanted to bring BBI and talk about morals and ethnicity, one of the 90 points.
I think we need to introduce it in our education.
Ruto. No, how can you introduce it with a man like a Ruto?
That needs to be embedded in our education.
You can't.
system.
Ruto has already said it is a wrong thing. Miriam. Thank you very much. Wesonga.
Songa, your comments as we come.
Yes, thank you so much. And I agree with you totally that we need to have a total overhaul of our transport sector. You know, Dr. Mazanga, I really like to ask our viewers, why is it that majority of the Kenyan drivers have rungus in their cars, you know? And whenever they are actually involved in a small road accident, they get out and hit the other person. You know, it has happened severally. We've seen it, you know, in the news and everywhere. So does it mean that we are just...
What are rungus? A rungu is a big stick.
A rungu is a club.
It's a club,
whip, you know.
a club, a stick, wooden stick with something like a stone that when your car is knocked, people get it and come out with it to smash your legs. That's
exactly.
I can see so many Nigerians are here.
It is a known culture here in Kenya, Dr. Masanga, even when you are driving along Thika Road during traffic jam, that the hawkers will be so much interested to selling motorist swords and every kind of weapons, you know. Are these motorists going to a battlefield, or who are they going to fight with these swords and knives that are being sold and these rungus? You know, it is because they know that in the Kenyan culture, you have to put some of the weapons in your car so that if someone actually accidentally hits you and they try to confront you, or maybe you don't agree, then someone is gonna maybe get out their weapons and they're gonna fight you. How many cases have we had where maybe a small accident has led to someone being shot dead? You know, so many. So I think it is something in our Kenyan culture. Our temperament cannot allow us to be law-abiding citizens and be able to love our fellow citizens. And therefore, that is why I agree with you that we need to start afresh from the ground, you know, in terms of training on the etiquette on the road, training on the traffic laws, and everything that entails being a disciplined citizens on the road. I believe that is where the problem is. Today, the border operators have been behaving badly simply because they came on the roads and found out that motorists were actually behaving badly, and therefore they copied. They must have copied some of these bad traits from the motorists who they found on the road. Because in early 2000s we never had so many borders on the road, but we had other motor vehicle motorists who could overlap, who could drive on the wrong side of the lanes, and who could actually, you know, obstruct other road users. And those are the bad behaviors that have actually mutated and actually found a home within the border industry. And being that the borders are majority and they can actually move anywhere, they actually go a step further to even you know, use it beyond the chagrin of other road users. So to me, I believe the problem is with all of us. And therefore, that is why I support you, Dr. Masanga, that even motorists have to be taken back. You know, if you think that it is only a border problem, then you have to drive on a road like a Jogoo Road or maybe some of the parts of Eastlands on Ngong Road. Then you will see how badly even the matatu crews and even some personal vehicles are bad behaved. When you are on the traffic jam actually waiting for your turn to come so that you move, you will see someone actually squeezing a very big car on a very small pavement and thus denying even pedestrians a space to be able to walk on. So it is not just about border borders, but all Kenyan road users. We have to change our mentality. We have to be people who can abide by the traffic laws that have been put there by the government. How many dogs do you find on some of the highways when you're traveling up country? So many. How many animals, how many cows have been hit on the road? And that is why I agree with you also that, you know, in the UK or many other developed democracies, even when an animal, even as small as a duck, as small as a hen, crosses the road, a driver has to stop so that the animal crosses. It doesn't matter if it has its ducklings or chicks; they will have to cross the entire family before the motor vehicle can again rev off and be able to drive. But here in Kenya, we have very little regard even for animals. We have very little regard even for our fellow human beings, you know, who are using the road as well. So there is need to actually be able to review these laws in regards to traffic and transport on our road, Dr. Matsanga. I submit.
And as we review that, I strongly believe that we also need to review our traffic police officers. They're the ones who are aiding and enabling this impunity because they know even if you break the law, all you need to do is just give them a little something and they will allow you to pass. And because of this, Kenyans don't really care because they know, after all, I can pay my way out of, you know, whatever kind of trouble I get in terms of traffic. So we really need our traffic police to just be there and implement the law as it is. That way, many motorists and many road users will be scared because they know if I'm found in the wrong, you know, I'll have to pay for the consequences. But because they know they can get away, that's why we see the impunity continue on our roads. So our police officers must really be retrained, and they must really implement the traffic rules as they are. That will go a long way in you know, aid in helping removing some of this ugliness we see on our roads every day.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. I think we have exhausted exams. We haven't seen a lot of cheating. Things have moved well. Corruption, things have moved well. The good, the bad, the ugly. Don't miss our show this evening at 7 o'clock. We shall be talking about Ruto's trip abroad. Did it bring any joy for Kenya, or it brought more tears? Coming up next, at the top of the hour, after a short break and taking tea, some water, will be diplomatic leaks. Today's diplomatic leaks was delayed because we broke down in the machine system, but we catch up now with diplomatic leaks. Zimbabwe as a focus, the relationship between Zimbabwe and Kenya. What is in, what are the stakes? We want to see, can Africa start helping Zimbabwe to recover from the sanctions heaped on them by America? Thank you. Don't go away. Keep on watching. This is Punchline Africa TV, the only television sub-Saharan Africa, together with our sister stations across the continent and those watching us on YouTube. If you missed this show, you'll pick it later on. Asante. Thank you, Miriam, my co-host.
All right. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.